Welcome to Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast for the Rewind Show, where we look forward to looking back at the last time we played our upcoming opponents this weekend in the top division, as well as another one, possibly two matches from years gone by. Hello, my name's Craig Fimbo. As ever, joining me for your weekly build-up to the weekend's match is Dave Diamond. How are you going, Dave?
Yeah, morning, Craig. Very well, thank you. You good?
Yeah, all good now, thank you. We're in our stride. We're fully in our stride. The second of our claret and blue double bubble. Mm-hmm. This time we're against the lovable Cockneys, former winners of the World Cup.
Yeah.
All love their mums, West Ham United, for our first ever trip to the Olympic Stadium.
Our precursor to the Olympic London Stadium, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, our first visit there. I've been. I didn't get to the Olympics, but I've been there to see actually a couple of good friends of mine are West Ham fans. So I've been there to see a couple of West Ham games there. Yeah, bit odd for a football stadium, but I think they're slowly getting there, probably.
Yeah, I've been. We watched the Paralympics there with the kids, and I've been to see. Me and Oscar went to watch a baseball, one of those when they bring the Major League baseball over. We watched
I love
one of those there, but no, yet to see a football match. So you're looking forward to that. This coming weekend, and a nice, relatively easy journey as well for everyone. Hopefully,
well, it's got to be the easiest, hasn't it? Just
our localist,
Stratford. Yep.
Yeah, very much so. So what we'll do is we're going to chat, as ever, about some games from the past. Our most recent match against West Ham in the Premier League or Premiership, as it would have been, and then maybe one or two from before that. And I say, as ever, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, whatever you've got, and comment if you are at these particular matches in the comments. But not a particularly happy hunting ground overall, I don't think, Upton Park, was it, Dave?
Not really. I mean, I can remember back in the day, I think back in the 70s, we had a couple of good wins there. But yeah, generally didn't get a lot of joy. I mean, they were down sort of late 70s, early 80s. They were down in old pound, shillings and pence in the old Division 2 for a couple of seasons. Well, actually won the cup while they were in. I think the last team to do it, weren't they? Won the cup while they were in Division 2. So they were down, but for a couple of seasons. But yeah, no, not necessarily a happy hunting ground for us.
But although saying that, obviously as everyone knows, the rules of the Rewind Show, where we look forward to looking back at previous matches, dictates top flight matches only. But the last time we played West Ham in a league season, we doubled them, didn't we? The managerial genius of Paul Jewell.
Absolutely, as I very much remind my good West Ham friends, including a right stuffing at, spoiler alert, later on the season, hopefully, a right old stuffing at Portman Road. But I think a Lee Bowyer goal at West Ham, I think.
Yeah, 1-0 away, wasn't it?
Yeah, seemingly, I can remember, I think, was like that? I can't remember, I don't know if I was. I can kind of remember a bit of a backs to the wall performance there, but certainly we doubled them that season,
Yeah, and the home game, we got some old players scored for us in that home game, including Michael Chopra, Lee Martin, and
it was his best ever game, wasn't it? I know Ben. That guy, and we're talking about J. Emmanuel Thomas. I mean, obviously he's been in the news for non-footballing reasons recently. But my God, that guy had some talent, didn't he? He just looked like he had a lot, didn't he? He was big, strong, wand of a left foot, could just drop his shoulder and beat. And he was on it. I mean, he wasn't on it. I used to love watching him because, sort of just like that style of player. And he wasn't on it often at Ipswich, for Ipswich. But he was definitely on it that night, wasn't he? Wow.
Yeah. I think he was also my favourite player of that era, I think.
Oh, yeah, no, he was. He was just different, wasn't he? Could get you out of your seat. He'd do one thing. Whoa, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So much.
I remember buying Oscar Meistein. I bought him a little teddy bear at the time when he was 0 years old, an Ipswich Town teddy bear. And it started off, it was christened Keno Bear to start with. Oof. And then that got changed to Jet Bear at a point in time. So it was sort of, it got, it's by deed poll, obviously. You've done it officially, changed its name all the way through. So it went
through the proper channels. Yeah. No, I mean, I know we're not talking about that particular game or that particular league, but what a talent that guy. And yeah, I mean, sad to see, I guess, he's anyway.
Yes, I can see Rich's lawyer.
Sad to see he's been in the news, perhaps for the wrong reasons recently.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll leave it there. So we are heading back to again the FA Carling Premiership, March 2002, which was 30th of March 2002. The week after we played West Ham away, the week after we played Aston Villa at home. So we're following the exact same fixture list as we were 22 years ago. Now we're going to test your memory here, Dave, because a week ago we went through the Villa game and we given that we would give our number one record of the time in the charts.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite on the Bryan Adams wet era of elongated number ones, but it's the same number ones we had in the previous week, mate.
Yeah, so the same number ones was there a clue there? It almost lead me to say Snap, but I know it wasn't. It was Will Young, wasn't it?
It was Gareth Gates.
It was Gareth Gates. I've forgotten in a week.
Yeah, you're right.
It was Will Young singing Unchained Melody. No, it was Gareth Gates singing Unchained Melody. Unchained Melody, yeah, correct.
It was, yeah. Oh, however, and just as a bit of variety, do you know what was number one in Germany at the time? It was Gerard Piqué's ex was at number one.
Shakira.
Shakira was at number one, yeah.
Singing, I wouldn't know. Hips.
Whenever, wherever.
Oh, yeah, that's decent. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I believe.
Another thing about this particular day, crazy how you remember things, football matches, music, events of the day. Coming out of the stadium, learnt that the Queen Mother had passed away.
She did. Aged
102, was she?
101, I believe.
101.
I think you're duty bound to call that a good innings.
A very, very, very good innings. Yeah. No, odd how things just resonate with you, but I recall that day. And also, just a link. Bloody hell, we're going. We're linking everything tenuous.
Up here. Very tenuous.
Go on.
Which famous rapper's 40th birthday links to our opponents on this particular day as well? God. Think about it, Dave. Rapper, who we were playing.
I'll go on.
It was MC Hammer's 40th birthday.
Oh, of course, yeah. All right, over my head. MC, well, there you go. Super.
Anyway, let's move on. So in terms of the league table at the time, this is what the league table looked at before the match. And sort of following on from it's the same league table that we showed at the end of the Villa game in the same season. In that we were in the bottom three, we never got out of the bottom three.
Spoiler alert! Yeah,
etc. The cover star of the week, who was West Ham's biggest, most flamboyant player of this particular
ever. Of course, I assume we're talking about Di Canio. Yeah,
we are.
Great,
it's not a bad front two there on show, and it's.
I love that. When I saw that front two, I think, wow, yeah. I love the Canio. I mean, perhaps he was split opinion. I just thought he was brilliant.
Yeah.
But
as I say, in terms of the lineups, let's have a quick look at the lineups. Ourselves lined up a little bit something like this. Sixto Peralta was back from his thigh injury that he'd had. That Kvanidi played in his stead the week before, and Fabian Wilnis came in for Chris Makin, who'd got injured in that Villa match
early on, I think, against Villa.
Yeah. But other than that, it's the same team that played. In terms of West Ham, they lined up a little bit like this, and I say that front two. It's just a great combo, isn't it? Canute with the strength and height,
love them
and
both. As a front two, I really didn't. You think, God, how didn't this side well, I suppose defensively they're a bit meh, aren't they? But if you look at the, pretty much the midfield and that front two, you think, why didn't this side achieve more? To be fair, but again, a lot of it, quite a lot of experience. Obviously, got Nigel Winterburn.
Well, I think that sort of passed me by a little bit. Nigel Winterburn playing for West Ham.
James in goal, Nigel Winterburn, obviously left back. Crikey, that must have been quite a young. Well, we'll get with the previous game, but quite a reasonably young Joe Cole, Michael Carrick, Trev Sinclair with the overhead kick of the QPR overhead kick fame, and as you said, what a front two, Canute and Di Canio, bloody hell, yeah,
it's good team.
It is.
As it proved this day, again, I referred to it last week with regards to Phil TWTD's match reports. I think he introduced it, or certainly ended it, with basically saying that our Premiership status looked more and more perilous.
Hung like a thread.
A 3-1 victory to West Ham in this one, unfortunately, and a very much a Di Canio-led 3-1 victory this one, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, the first goal, it's a cross. It's a cross, isn't it? I've saw some very grainy footage of this, but I can remember one goal I can remember two goals in this game. But the first goal, he sort of crosses it in, and it's one of those ones where Serini just misjudges the flight, doesn't he? And Lomas, he wasn't known for his height or stature, I don't think, or heading ability, really. Just heads into an empty net, doesn't he? He just completely misjudges it. And then I think, was it 70? I think 70. Yeah, 70, around about the 70th minute, we equalised, scramble in their box, and Bent scores his 10th goal of the season. He had a good season, considering the relegations. He had a great season. He went on that ridiculous run, didn't he, after Christmas, where he scored virtually every single game, didn't he? And
you mentioned before, one of the previous rewind shows, that he won Premier League or Premiership Player of the Month, didn't he?
He did. And he tucks one away, sort of, the ball falls loose in the box, he tucks one away in the corner. So 1-1, and Ipswich fans, I don't know if you're there, I was certainly there that day, right behind the goal, Upton Park, great old ground, loved it there. Used to go there a lot. So you think, okay, fine, come on, we can perhaps at least get a point or nick a winner. And then, Di Canio, this is a good goal, and it's such a great goal. Maybe not from Serini. I think Di Canio gets the ball outside the box, has a go, and you can see the ball was dipping and swerving in flight, and Serini almost goes one way, but managed to parry it out the other way. And perhaps you could, but he parries it out straight, bounces back out of the box again. You could say perhaps our defender's a bit flat-footed, but what a finish this is! Di Canio sort of follows it up, and very much obviously not takes it out of the air. The goalie, stupid goal he scores against Wimbledon, he scissor volleys it in the far corner, does it? It's a brilliant goal to put them 2-1, and then a very, very young, he always seems to score against his back, and then Jermaine Defoe wraps it up, doesn't he? He's got all the time in the world, turns on the edge of the box, and I don't know what Serini's doing, but almost it's a P-roller in the far corner, doesn't he? Serini sort of watches it. So, I think it was one of those games, again, that sort of knocked a bit of the stuffing out of us, having sort of battled hard and got back to 1-1. And obviously you think, okay, well, let's see it out, or let's, try and go for the win. Yeah, a bit of Di Canio brilliance and Defoe, and we're on the sorry slope to relegation. Yeah,
and you've mentioned Serini there. It was actually Serini's last match for Ipswich.
Yeah. Was it really?
Led to believe, yes, indeed. Wow. And also, and I'm not wishing to link either of these two players with our subsequent demise, but reading again the match report, Sixto Peralta was replaced with Finidi George on 53 minutes, and his replacement saw an angry reaction from some town supporters with boos ringing around the ground. Yeah. So
I can remember Finidi. No, it certainly wasn't Finidi's last game. So I can remember Finidi still. He was still with us the next season, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? Yeah, we got relegated.
Yeah, because he was. Yeah. And I can remember him having a half-decent game. Spoiler alert, because no doubt we'll cover this sometime in the season, against Arsenal away, having a really half-decent game. One of the last games of the season. But again, we said about the strength of that West Ham side. They'd gone a great season. They'd gone to finish 7th, West Ham. Not surprisingly.
Yeah, well, I say this is how it looked after the event.
They obviously pushed on.
Yeah, we're stuck where we were, and we never moved from there, as we spoke about last week.
Top 6. Look at the top 6 there; they're well away, aren't they? Yeah. And West Ham obviously, managed to get up to seventh. So a very good season for them. But yeah, you look back at that season as we've done in previous weeks and stuff, and you just think, what if, as I said, reverse one of those results against Bolton, you stay up, and God, who knows, administration doesn't come alive. Ifs and buts, sliding doors, ifs and buts. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. And as we said about before, momentum, isn't it? Momentum works in two ways, both up and down. Sadly.
Yeah, it does. We know that.
So that's that one done and dusted. We're going to move on now to a slightly more positive result, shall we say, after a quick message from our friends at Atwell's.
Blue Monday is proudly brought to you in partnership with our friends at Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for work on property or business law. Their client care has repeatedly been recognised as outstanding, and they are people-focused with a plain English approach which sets them apart. They have offices in Ipswich, Colchester and London, and to find out more, head to atwells.com.
So in terms of the one of the other actors, it's a spoiler, we're going to quickly do a couple. Again, as I said before, it's pretty much slim pickings, isn't it, Dave, in terms of the matches that we can choose from by virtue of the clubs sort of not being
missing
in division.
Yeah,
very much over certainly through the 80s and into the 90s. But we've gone back into the as we're allowed to do. We've gone back to the previous season, to the relegation season we just spoke about, to March the 17th, 2001. Again, the FA Carling Premiership, number one in the charts. Dave, we've done this. We've been through this. It's another bloody
we've done this one.
Winner of a competition, a group this time. We did it 2 weeks ago.
Was it? What did we say? It was hearsay.
Yeah, pure and simple.
Pure and simple. Yeah, we've done that. Whoa.
Yeah, unfortunately. But whereas in number one in Australia, as you'll probably know, was a song by Eminem, who I think it's his tribute to Premier League striker for Liverpool, Notts Forest.
Was it?
Bradford.
Was it? It got number one. Oh, that's that's Dido track, wasn't it?
Correct.
Dido track. Brilliant track. That superb track.
Yeah. So that was number one on the other side of the world.
Oh wow!
So league table. Let's get the league table up before the match.
This will make better.
Here we go. This is more like
this is what we want. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Christ, I mean, I know you just don't. How dominant were Man U? I mean, I know. Look at us, ridiculous, but how the hell dominant were Man U that season?
Yeah, that's right. 21 points ahead of us.
We took a point off them. Yeah.
But then, as you said before, Dave, in one of the previous shows, we did not draw matches, did we? Look, we've won 14 and lost 11.
Absolutely shit or bust. Yeah,
no one else in the top half has
very
lost
similar
as many
to
as we did.
Newcastle. Look at Newcastle. It's just incredible. Absolutely, what a season! And no one can see that coming, could they? No way. We're not scraped up. Look, we fell at the last hurdles. We know the season before. Perhaps we comfortably, as in previous seasons, we should have gone up automatically. Didn't. Had a brilliant day at Wembley against Barnsley, but no one could have foreseen this, could they? Not really. We're just looking again a bit like this season, I suppose. Let's try and keep our heads above water, establish ourselves. Yeah, crazy.
Whereas our opponents were down in 14th.
Total reversal of the season before. The following season. Yeah,
that's right. And we'll look at the lineups in a second. It may be that they were in a bit of a transition because you spoke about the age of their players, etc. Actually, let's get the lineups up here, and then we'll look back at the program.
Definitely a change of manager as well during that period for them.
Yeah. So in terms of our team, it's Alan Armstrong's probably the one that out of the promoted team, making Hardison obviously in the back four. There was no
obviously
that day.
Jamie Clapham missing that day, who I pretty much thought was relatively and ever present. Had a brilliant season, didn't he? That season, absolutely superb. So that's for me. That's the sort of the glaring Who else? Armstrong, Stewart, I suppose. Who else isn't there? Scowcroft normally, I suppose, would have been playing. Did he get an injury? I can't remember.
Stewart returned up front, so he'd been injured the previous match. So Stewart came in that game probably for Scowcroft.
Yeah, probably for Scowcroft actually. And Armstrong. I always thought Armstrong was a great signing that season, wasn't he? He really good for us. No frills type player, but had a goal in him, didn't he? Yeah, good player.
And Martin Royce, we've spoken about, we both like a player like Martin Royce. And it was the game, he'd missed the game previous, but the game previous to that previous match was the Bradford City home game in which he'd scored those two belters, hadn't he? The free kick and the
Bradford City game.
Yeah.
No, absolutely superb, as he was ultimately going to be for this game. West Ham's team is interesting.
Yes, it is. You were saying earlier about Joe Cole being quite young in the season the year after.
That's right. Look at that midfield. Oh my God. Cole, Lampard, Carrick, Stuart Pearce.
Well, yes. So you're saying that Joe Cole would have been quite young at that point in time.
Stuart Pearce could have been his dad, couldn't he? Almost.
Town fans regaled and again, I've spoken about Phil, TWTD, and his match reports. He called him a geriatric defender.
He wouldn't say that in a press conference to his face, would he?
No. So, yeah, he was at him and Winterburn, to be fair. You got Nigel Winterburn and Stuart Pearce playing on the same.
Ian Pearce, a Blackburn player alongside him.
Yeah.
Sebastian Schemmel was there. One of the songs, I can't remember. It's not Rigobert, is it? Is it? Maybe it is him. And well, we spoke about the front two previously, didn't we? But that's a side, isn't it? But obviously quite a young side. So Cole, Lampard would have been young then. Carrick would have been very young then. And that's
probably showed in their league position, didn't it, Dave?
I think that's a Redknapp team.
Yeah,
I think in between time these two games, Redknapp went, and I think would have been Glenn Roeder perhaps for the game the season after. I can't remember, but yeah, that's certainly a Redknapp team. And crikey, there's some talent that came through. I mean, but just look at those three. There's some talent there that came through their ranks, isn't it? Bloody hell.
Absolutely. And it is, we'll quickly get the programme up for completeness sake. If you can name either of these two players, Dave, congratulations. Again, I'm not entirely sure who chooses the photos for the...
Is that Stephen Carr? Is that the right back? Is that Stephen Carr?
What, the Tottenham player?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's Luke Young.
Oh, that's a spot. That's a brilliant spot. I think you're right. Who ultimately shaved his head not long after that. But I think you might be right. That's a great spot.
Who's the West Ham
I'll go with
player
that.
then?
Yeah.
It's not Alan Devonshire. I'll give you that clue.
No, that's not Alan. Number 10.
Number 30, I think it is.
Oh, is it?
Shall I give you a
you
clue?
don't see that now. Looking through the West Ham team. No.
I'll give you a clue, mate. It's number 30.
Yeah. Looking through the West Ham team.
It's on the screen, Dave.
Hang on, is it? Oh, mate, Sebastian Schemmel.
I'm not entirely sure many West Ham fans would be able to spot Sebastian.
No.
Schemmel.
Luke Young's a great spot. Yeah, I think you've got him spot on there. Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the programme from the day. And as you said about Redknapp was in charge because he took off the aforementioned Sebastian Schemmel, who was playing right back against Martin Royce at half time, and pretty much changed the game because, according to the match reports, Martin Royce subsequently had a lovely old time of it in the.
He was obviously that was a peak of his pay up for Ipswich. He was going for it. Scored. His confidence was obviously high. And I know we covered the Southampton game previously, where he's like trying free kicks on the halfway line and all sorts. Was it? I mean, he was just. I called him Rolls Royce. He's a lovely, lovely player, and so much so in this
genuinely game, two-footed, Dave.
Genuinely extremely two-footed. Yeah. Just so much talent. Not too much pace, although remember him in goal at Wembley showed a little bit, didn't he? But just a lovely, lovely player, and had finished never quite. I don't know. Maybe I don't think Joe Royal really trusted him. I think perhaps that's more of a thing there probably, but he certainly was in a rich vein of form and certainly showed it in this game with the only goal just on the hour, where I think again looking at footage of this game, how was that not a penalty?
It wasn't even close to being outside the area, was it? He's a yard.
He's virtually taking it inside the area.
Yeah.
Ref that. Here's the thing. Ref that day. Have you got it?
I do know it was gone.
Yeah. The famous Sky Sports Mike Dean, for God's sake. And in typical Roycer fashion, uses. It's just a great technical free kick, right foot, side sort of foots it with a bit of swerve, low to Xhaka. He's not been goal. Wow. Just low to Shaq, right in the corner, low past Shaq. He's not. I don't think he barely moves for it. It's a great strike. He had that, Royce. He had that technique. Side foot. He did it just as strong as he could off the laces. And from what I remember about that game, despite their much vaunted midfield and strike force, I seem to remember we saw that game out pretty well. And that's just as we did most of that season. And just incredible. After that, we had I think we had 9 games to play. And I'm thinking we were third going into this game. I mean, Christ, those teams around us, Arsenal and, those teams are, Christ, Sunderland, look at that.
Yeah. So that's what the league table looked like after the event. Apologies for those people who are listening.
Yeah, we
remained in third, but 21 points behind Manchester United.
And for the rest of the season, looking at that, Craig, 1-6, drew 2, lost 1, our last 9 games, you'd think, as we're situated there, I know it's quite close. Games in hand. Liverpool 2 games in hand. That's what's done it. You thought that had been good enough to get us over the line for the Champions League, for God's sake. It's crazy. But, great day. What I remember about that day, went there, drove to Ilford, met some pals in Ilford, West Ham supporting pals, got a bus in it. Pissed down all day. Torrential rain all day, I remember about that game. But again, like many of those things, we had some great away wins that season, didn't we? Absolutely super. And this was just another one of them. And obviously we'd famously go on to, as we'll cover no doubt, again, went on to finish 5th. And very much, as you said, very much a transition West Ham season who finished 15th. So, yeah.
And interestingly, as you say about some good away performances, that was actually our first away win in 3 months.
Was it really?
Since the Liverpool win in December. Yeah. So, but you've mentioned it before, is that little lull that we had over like January.
Yeah, we did.
February
I can remember losing at Arsenal, didn't we? I think Henry did it at yeah, good point. But then maybe, thinking about after that, I remember, we won't cover it this season, went to Borough and Armstrong, got a couple, didn't you? I think that was over East. Might have been the very next 17th of March. A couple of weeks later, we go to Borough and have a really good away win, don't we, and stuff.
Long ranges, wasn't it? From
Yeah. No, it was just an incredible season. And, having seen the table there, you think, my God, we were close to the Champions League, but 1-6, drew 2, lost 1. You'd think, crikey, that'd have been, and the one we lost was a sort of bit of a nothing game by that time at Charlton, wasn't it? I think. And the next match actually is one we've covered previously, was the 3-0 away Southampton match. Of course, I've got throw the South. I said about the Middlesbrough game. Yeah, of course, we've got the Southampton game in there as well.
Very next match. Yeah,
incredible. What a season!
But as we said before, it not being a particularly happy hunting ground for us, that was our first win in the East End for 25 years. That one. Wow. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I seem to remember like mid-70s, we would regularly go there and I say regularly. I can remember, again, they went down, didn't they? I can remember a couple of wins. I remember a thumping there. I think it could have been like a Good Friday before the cup final, like a 4-0 thumping. There before the, literally 2 or 3 weeks before the cup final. I remember that. But other than that, I think in the 70s we used to do okay there. But I say we in the 80s we bypassed each other quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, one match where we didn't quite bypass each other is one we're going to briefly cover here. Is one from. Again, another relegation season, Dave. You seem to be choosing our relegation season.
Me, I know. I mean, this season was the one where 18 years of uninterrupted top level football was. Robson had left 4 seasons before. The writing was on the wall. Had been on the wall in previous seasons. Just got out of jail, but looked like we were still again one of these seasons where we looked like we were going to stay up, and then going to West Ham. I think it was last but one game in the season. And for a away game at Upton Park, and to set the scene, as we said briefly before we came on air, probably the greatest ever West Ham season. They were still going for the title pretty much, I think, at that.
Yeah, they were.
Ultimately, Liverpool, Dalglish were going to do the double. But and this was the season of the ironically for West Ham, the TV blackouts, which basically lasted for months throughout the season. But was back. Certainly was back for this game.
So it was April the 30th, 1986. So just before the Mexico World Cup. That summer. Do you want to go for the number one at the time, Dave? As we're here. It was a song. Actually, here's a bit of trivia for you. Credited as being the second number one, which was written, sung, played, arranged, and produced by the same person. The first one was "I Just Called to Say I Love You" by Stevie Wonder.
Right, 1986. Got married that year. It's round about. Tell you what, it wouldn't have been Christy Berg, but I know. No, it wasn't Christy Berg, was it? He was number one in '86. No, give us a clue. He was one of a duo in a band. We spoke last week about Snap having a exclamation mark in the name. Did this band also have an exclamation mark in their name? It was one of Wham, and it wasn't Andrew Ridgeley. Oh, okay. So George 86, George Michael. Different corner? No.
Correct. Yes,
okay.
It was. Different corner. Yeah. There you go. And it was, as I say, it was written, sung, played, arranged, and produced by quite a talented fella, wasn't he?
There was
young George,
mate. Honestly, there was a talented fella. Flipping it, yeah.
I've got the program from the day, Dave. You want 1986? Who do you reckon was at the front of West Ham's program? He was a striker, blonde-haired striker, mate.
Frank McAvenny.
It was Frank McAvenny.
Yeah, him and Cotty ripped it. Him and Cotty ripped it up that season. Absolutely ripped it up. Neither
of them, you talk about big man, small man combinations at that particular time of football. It probably was more prevalent than most, but they were both quite diminutive, weren't they, in terms of their stats?
Yeah, they were. They just had a style. They had, Devonshire. I think you mentioned earlier on Devonshire on the right, and
let's get
just
had a really team up, look. Get the team up for that day.
So what we got there: Cotty, McAvenny, Gary Orr, Alan Dickens, Devonshire, Mark Ward, George Paris, Tony Gale, Christ, Alvin Martin, Ray Stewart, and Phil Parkes, who famously made some appearances for us later on.
And the substitute was Paul Goddard.
Oh yeah, would have been. Yeah.
So in terms of strikers, another striker who wasn't much taller than about 5'6", 5'7", was he?
No. All of them were. Mark Ward was tiny. The winger there was tiny. Devonshire, very, very slight. Dickens the same. Yeah, interesting actually. Yeah, good. Yeah, good football. I'd say a good football inside that side.
Yeah, absolutely. But comparing it to our team of the day, no disrespect to anyone that was playing that day, but it's very much a more functional outfit at this particular point in time. It's Terry Butcher's swan song, wasn't it, at this point? As you say, Dave, there's only one more game to go after.
I mean, again, I think no disrespect, it shows the thinness of the squad. You've still got Tommy Park in there, bless him, playing Tommy Park in there playing right back. I mean, still got some of the FC. So you got just hanging on to those glory days. You've got Paul Cooper, Butcher, and of course Steve McCall there. But so a lot of, again, fair bit of experience in that side. Nigel Cleghorn, the old fireman, Northeast fireman on the right there. I always thought he was a neat and tidy player. Went on Man City, didn't he?
He did make it to Man City, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he did. Obviously, Jason. Mark Brennan, who I thought was a lovely player, left foot, lovely footballer.
He's spoken about a bit in Jason's autobiography in his book, actually.
I haven't read that yet. What speaks well of him, sort of says.
Yeah.
Culture.
Sort of grew up together, played for England and 20 months together. Had a
great player, Mark Brennan.
Tales to tell about.
And Wilson obviously came in, ultimately scored a lot of goals for us. And Michael Cole always looked like he could, but never quite reached the heights, certainly of his good mate Dalian Atkinson. Of course, I think they came through together pretty much. But yeah, a fair bit of experience there. But yeah, absolutely desperate for points. I remember this game, desperate for points. Last but one game of the season. I think we just had that great win over Oxford, I think, which pretty much thought, that might well do it. Keep it up. We need another point, maybe two. Went to West Ham this Tuesday night. I remember going there, sell out, Upton Park, absolutely mental, absolutely. And we score second half. I think it's a fairly tight game. We think have some chance. I think Wilson scores. I seem to remember sort of like rounding the keeper and putting it in.
Yeah, I think it's a good through ball actually. As I said when we spoke about it just before we came in here, there's if everyone wants to look up this particular game, there's about 10 or 12 minutes of highlights on YouTube.
It was one of these games. It was, I mean, any midweek, there was no live midweek football. It was like a midweek sports special. So it was a highlight to this game, which you used to get. So I think that would have been perhaps on ITV back then. Used to get any football highlights, cup games and that. Internationals was on Sports Night with what used to be Sports Night with Coleman, but Sports Night on BBC. Pretty sure this was on ITV. We get properly done, and this is where Butcher loses it. I think it's Mark Ward. Don't think it's Devonshire. I think it's Mark Ward who clear dive for the penalty. Ref gives a penalty. Ray Stewart penalty
never
kick.
missed. Yeah,
like the blast from a penalty spot. I don't think he ever missed. Blast it in, so 1-1, and then we get done. It's a really good goal. Alan Dickens, I think, chips in, sort of curls it past Cooper from the edge of the box, and I think 2-1. I think that was the famous night where Butcher doesn't get sent off, but kicks. I believe I read this in his book. He kicks the dressing room door off its hinges and stuff because he realises that's it, and he's going to get relegated. He's obviously leaving, which ultimately, spoiler alert, he goes to Rangers, and sure enough, it did for us because we went the next Saturday. I think we've still got a chance, haven't we? We go the next Saturday, we get beat, I think 1-0 at Sheffield Wednesday, and we've still got a chance. Oh, here we are.
Yeah, because bizarrely after this match, I say everyone's got one match left apart from 5, 6 teams. Well, it might be an odd number, 6 teams. One of them being Oxford. But I say after this match, we find ourselves, 3 teams clear of.
Problem is, Oxford have got that game, and Oxford and obviously Leicester, I think, obviously pick up points. Leicester has a win. Oxford's last game is at home against Arsenal. I think it might be on an Easter Monday or something like that. Arsenal, or certainly a bank holiday, I seem to remember. Arsenal are on the beach. They go nowhere. Arsenal, finish. I think I assume that they finished. I think they finished. They must finish 7th, and Oxford beat them 3-0, and we're down, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, as you say, that even looking at that table, you think, well, we've got a little bit of a jump on Coventry and Leicester and Oxford, but unfortunately, as you say, we lost to Wednesday. Leicester beat Newcastle 2-0. Coventry beat QPR 2-0. Oxford
there you go.
Lost, but the season had finished on the weekend. But then, as you say, there was one game left over, which was Oxford versus Arsenal, who played after everyone else had finished their season.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened today, would it?
No, and ended up
wouldn't happen today.
Winning 3-0 and overtaking us after the season had finished. In effect,
honestly, it was a real kick in their proverbials. That one. The actual game that did for us that season was back in November, I think, when we were 3-0 up at Oxford. I think it was John Hallworth's debut or one of his first games. We were 3-0 up at Oxford, and I think Aldridge, playing for them, scores a hat trick in the second half. We lose 4-3. So ultimately, I think we're also 3-1 up against Everton, who ultimately were the great side back then. Just finished at Liverpool and lost that 4-3 as well in consecutive weeks. I think bizarre, but the Oxford game did for us that season, 3-0 up and losing 4-0. But I thought I'd just touch on that one because it was such a sort of pivotal. Again, another sort. I know we lost, but quite a pivotal game in our history. Obviously, one of Butcher's last games, and he certainly talks about it in his book, I'm sure.
Wonderful. Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you very much for that, Dave. Hope everyone enjoyed that little blast from the past, a little bit further back than the Premier League. We do try and stay relatively modern, 22 years ago, but occasionally we'll just treat ourselves to a little bit of the Nigel Gleghorn era as well.
Oh, I love it.
We'll call it.
Yeah.
Well, I say thanks very much, Dave. Thanks as ever. We'll see you again next week, hopefully. Thanks everyone for watching, listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. As ever, we'll be back Thursday evening for the pre-match, leading up to the weekend's match against West Ham, and then Sunday evening after the event on the Flagship Show, following the match against the Ammers on Saturday at the London Stadium. This has been the Rewind Show for Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast. We shall see you in a bit.